Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more detailed videos. It's a day of shifting power plays, emotional fractures, and unexpected alliances in Port Charles. The undercurrents are strong, and every word, every gesture, carries weight. Let's begin. Drew Kane steps into the room, his eyes carrying both determination and fatigue. He has been far too long in the shadow of his reputation, and now he's ready to change the narrative, to show his face, his truth, his proof. The first scene opens on him meeting Veronica Bard. It's not an easy conversation. She's heard the horror stories. She's watched the rumors swirl around the Quartermaine legacy, and she's leery. But Drew doesn't back down. Instead, he offers an olive branch. He reminds Veronica of the bloodlines they share, the sense of being outsiders in that grand old clan. He reminds her of the times he felt beneath the Quartermaine legacy, misunderstood, judged before being known. And all the while he keeps his guard up because he knows her wariness is not only of him, but of what he represents, a challenge to the seat of power, to the assumptions, to the alliances that have protected Quartermaine interests for so long. Veronica listens. She points out she's heard the rumors. She doesn't dismiss them lightly. And for Drew, that acknowledgement is both a hurdle and an opportunity. He leans in. Yes, you heard the stories. But let me show you the proof. He reaches into his pocket or maybe pulls out a document. Whatever it is, it's tangible. He argues that he is more than myth, more than half-truths, more than someone to be sidelined. He wants her to see him as an asset. A partner. Not simply the one who needs to be contained. And that's the beginning of the power play, not just by Drew, but by the institution that is the Quartermaine legacy. Because when Veronica finally sees engagement, she'll realize this is not about redemption alone. It's about leverage. It's about redefining who sits at the table. Meanwhile, across town, near the Corinthos sphere of influence, things are unraveling, but with finesse. Michael Corinthos is crafting a strategy. He's been sharp, he's been ethical, or at least as ethical as one can be in Port Charles. But now he's asking for an alibi. He's asking for a performance. The cost. Jacinda Bracken must pretend to be emotionally invested in him. She must play the part of a woman falling hard for a man who needs the illusion. The plan. That illusion will shield Michael from the fallout of whatever angle he's pursuing. But Jacinda isn't fully convinced. She hesitates. She asks, is this really the best course? Is this really you? Because beneath Michael's confident exterior lies a man who knows he's taking a calculated risk, both in how others will perceive him and how he will perceive himself. And Jacinda, sharp as she is, isn't blind to that. Michael throws numbers at her. He can reward her for this. He frames it as business. Emotional currency. Payment for performance. Fake love, real stakes. Jacinda weighs it. She considers walking away. Because pretending to fall can feel like falling. And she knows in the end someone gets hurt. Maybe her, maybe him, maybe both. The payment looms as the tipping point. Will she take it? Will she cave under the weight of the money and the emotional complexity? Or will she claim agency and walk out of the deal entirely? Back to the steam room at sunny Corinthos' house. Yes, even in the heart of crime syndicates, there's a steam room. Because in that heat, reputations smolder. Alliances sweat out their true loyalties. Here, Brooklyn Quartermaine confides in Lois Cerullo about what's next. Lois has an opportunity, a big one. A music tour, an adventure far from Port Charles. Brooklyn is happy for her mother, but there is a pinch of grief in her voice, because sometimes letting someone go means acknowledging change. And changes are rarely easy. Brooklyn admits she misses the closeness they once had, the days when the deception of Gio wasn't between them. She wants back what was lost. And Lois, in her excitement, might not fully realize how much Brooklyn is giving up in return. The steam room moment becomes more than a set piece. It's the place where sweat and truths mix, where vulnerability is misunderstood as weakness, and where two women share both excitement and sorrow. And then we shift to the other crisis. Quieter, more internal, but devastating nonetheless. Damien Spinelli has always been a light in the dark corners of Port Charles, quirky, devoted, loyal. But now he is confronted by a sad crisis. He is facing the thought of losing James West, the little boy he has virtually raised like a son figure. James's biological father has returned from what seemed like death, and Nathan West is back in James's life. Spinelli knows this threatens what he and James have built together. It's a father-figure bond, and it runs deep. He walks into the bar, or maybe the PCPCU, and his face crumples. Not the macho hunk of license plate jokes and hacker hijinks. This is the man staring at an impending loss, whispering to himself, wondering how to cling to something slipping away. He turns to Jason Morgan. He tells him he feels lost. He confesses his fear. He asks, "How do I stay?" Jason listens because Jason knows about being lost, about being replaced, about identity in the face of irreparable change. He leans into Spinelli's pain and offers something rare. Not a punch, not a clever remark, but genuine solace. Jason reminds him, it's not only about blood. It's about heart. You've given James this. You just can't give up. The conversation stretches on. Spinelli holds back tears. Jason puts a hand on his shoulder. They sit in a quiet nook. The camera lingers. The emotional tone changes. Spinelli is the man who cracked jokes when they should have been serious. Now his jokes fade. And in their place, the real emotion stands bare. Back at the Corinthos house, Carly and Britt Westbourne sweat it out, literally and figuratively, in the steam room. They argue. They bicker. They push. Carly points out that she's watched Britt from the sidelines, believes Britt hasn't earned the trust of Jason Morgan. Britt defends herself. She says she's trying, she's changed, she's trying to prove. Carly says maybe change isn't enough. Maybe redemption demands more than words. The steam hisses, mirrors fog, voices echo. This isn't just a workout, it's confrontation. It's truth or near truth in the guise of a spa. Britt's face is flushed. Carly's is icy. And the question lingering, will Jason believe Britt? Or will Carly's cynicism win? Meanwhile, Drew gets to his proof. He meets Veronica in a secluded corner of Windmere, or maybe the Metro Court. He shows her the evidence he's gathered. Ledger entries, hidden correspondences, security footage, maybe even a DNA result. He says, "You asked for proof. Here it is. I'm not just beating up history. I'm a player." Veronica scrutinizes the documents, the photos, the timestamps. She raises an eyebrow. She asks, "Why should I trust this now? What stops this from being another angle?" Drew says, "Because I have nothing left to lose. I want to belong. And helping you is how I belong." She pauses. In that silence, the weight of her decision hangs. Because trusting him means altering the power balance in that family. The camera pans to Tracy Quartermain's portrait on the wall. The legacy looms. Drew and Veronica stand beneath it. He nods. She nods. The handshake is nearly there, but not yet. On the other side of Port Charles, Jacinda ruminates in her apartment. She holds the contract Michael drafted. The numbers shimmer on her screen. She imagines himself falling. Fake tears, staged affection, cameras maybe behind the scenes. She paces. She thinks of her integrity. She thinks of her future. She thinks of what this could mean. Does she risk becoming a prop in Michael's grand chess game? Or does she walk away with her moral compass intact and forfeit the money? She calls someone, maybe a friend, and asks, "What would you do?" There's silence. Just the hum of traffic outside. She looks at the words, pretend. Report. Maintain the illusion. The price is high. She closes the laptop and stares at the ceiling. Finally, she types a reply, "I'm in." The screen flickers. The deal is done. But the guilt? The question remains. Spinelli wanders through the PCPCU basement, pausing before the bulletin board where he once posted pictures of James, him, his wife, and the future they imagined. Now the photos are yellowed, some edges curled. He touches one, the one of him and James in a Halloween costume. He sighs. Then Nathan West walks in quietly, not exactly by accident. Nathan says, he's confused. I get that. I want to do right by him. Spinelli turns around. His tone, I know you do. I just don't want to lose him. Nathan nods. He says, you won't lose him. Because what you gave him, History, comfort, trust. No one can just walk in and replace that. Spinelli listens. The truth stings. He says, maybe I should let go before I'm forced to. Nathan says, don't. Not yet. They sit together for a moment. The hum of computers under microscopes echoes. The weight of days of service and sleepless nights and the sound of whirring servers fills the background. It is quiet. It is somber. It is real. Drew Part 2. He meets with Monica, or at least he expects to. The Quartermain mansion's corridors feel colder than he remembers. The portraits stare him down. He thinks of Alan Quartermain, of the family he's re-entered. He pauses in front of his own image, as drawn in a newspaper years ago. He remembers being the outsider, the adopted, the one with something to prove. He now carries proof. But the question remains, even if the evidence is there, will the legacy accept him? He thinks of Veronica, thinks of the conversation. He thinks of Tracy. He thinks of the donors, the Quartermain Enterprises board. He steps forward. The door opens. Veronica looks at him. The flicker of recognition, a note of surprise, a glimmer of grudging respect. She offers him tea. He takes it. The room is silent but loud with meaning. He says, meanwhile, Michael and Jacinda. The deal is rolling out. They attend an event, a charity gala, a launch, a press conference. Michael stands on stage, glamour, cameras, smiles. He introduces Jacinda as his partner, publicly. Jacinda stands beside him. She glances at him, unsure. She feels the eyes of everyone in that room. She hears whispers. She feels the performance start. Behind the smiles, behind the handshake photos, she thinks, I'm acting. I'm playing a role. And Michael, is he acting too? Suddenly the lights flicker. A photographer takes a photo. The flash lights up her face. She suddenly thinks, is this the moment when everything shifts? The facade cracks? Michael's strategy works on the surface. He looks powerful, composed, in control. But inside, Jacinda knows the cost. She knows the pretense. She knows the truth might surface, and when it does, the fall will be harder. Meanwhile, Drew returns home that evening. He enters the mansion. The lights are low. He sits at the piano in the drawing room. He presses a key. The note echoes. He reflects on how far he's come, or how far he still must go. He thinks of Veronica, of the Quartermain watchers, of the legacy looming over him. He thinks of how proof alone might not be enough. He thinks of alliances. He thinks of trust. He thinks of authenticity. He knows that in this world, authenticity costs. But he also knows that if he doesn't stake his claim, he'll always remain the outsider. Back at the gala, the photo goes off. The camera catches Michael and Jacinda laughing. The world sees the story. But Jacinda's smile flickers. She glimpses Michael's eyes. She wonders if he's lying to her. She wonders if she's betrayed herself. She steps away for a moment to the balcony. The city lights glow behind her. She breathes. She asks herself, was this the right decision? She sees her reflection in the glass. She sees the deal, the facade, the price. She considers walking away. But the money, the promise, the pull, all tug at her. She resolves, I'll monitor. I'll hold the line. She turns and walks back into the gala hall. Spinelli, alone now in his office, pieces together a farewell gift for James, a scrapbook of their time together. He flips through it slowly. Halloween, first day at school, watching hockey. Every page filled with love, with memories, with the worry that the next chapter may belong to someone else. He prints one more photo, James and him, smiling wide. He puts it in an envelope, writes, for when you need to remember on the cover. He sighs heavily. He lays down his pen. The moment is fragile. He is scared. But he is also resolved. He will not vanish quietly. Veronica sends Drew a message. Let's meet Monday. Bring everything. Drew exhales, relief and trepidation mingling. Jacinda returns to her apartment, removes the contract from the drawer, rips it in half, and tosses it in the trash bin. She doesn't smile. She doesn't regret. She just stares at the shredded pages. Spinelli turns off his office light, picks up his jacket, and walks out the door. He pauses at the threshold, looks back at the room he built. He says quietly, "Thank you." The door closes. In the final moments, we see each character in their private space. Drew alone in the Quartermain drawing room, arms crossed yet vulnerable. Michael in his home office, looking at a monitor, wondering if the illusion will hold. Jacinda standing by her window, the city lights reflecting off the glass, the contract perhaps forgotten but the deal made. Spinelli on the pier, feet dangling over the water, the reflection shimmering. And the camera pulls back, the familiar Port Charles skyline folding into night. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel for all of your updates.